This is a Geely Galaxy M9. If you're an American, you probably haven't heard of it because it's not available in the US. But after taking it for a spin, the auto experts at Edmunds called it incredibly competitive to similarly sized SUVs like the Kia Telluride or the Hyundai Palisade. Reviewers have been impressed with the M9's exceptional power, long battery life, and quick charging, and it even has a mini fridge.
But perhaps the most impressive stat? The fact that in China, you can buy one for the equivalent of about $25,000, around half the price of its stateside competitors. Of course, if it's ever actually available in America, it would cost somewhat more than that, but it would still likely be one of the best auto deals on the market.
And it goes beyond luxury hybrid SUVs.
Chinese auto companies make a wide variety of high-quality vehicles with cutting-edge tech that often outclass even renowned brands like Tesla at sticker prices that would make American consumers' hearts skip a beat.
But for precisely that reason, many US political and business leaders insist that Americans shouldn't be able to buy them.
In April 2026, Ford CEO Jim Farley said that the import of Chinese cars would be devastating to our country. He argued that because American manufacturers wouldn't be able to beat China's prices, Chinese cars would quickly dominate the market, leading to the collapse of the US auto industry.
But this is not just capitalism at work. While production in China is cheaper thanks to the lower cost of labor and materials, the Chinese government also heavily subsidizes their domestic industries, pouring billions of dollars of state money into companies like electric car manufacturers. As a result, they have enough production capacity to replace all the vehicle sales in the US. According to Farley, there is no way this is a fair fight.
There are also national security concerns. Chinese cars come equipped with a host of sensors and recording devices that can transmit data back to the homeland, which is why the Commerce Department prohibits the sale of internet-connected vehicles in the US that utilize Chinese or Russian software. That, coupled with the 100% tariff, amounts to a de facto ban of Chinese automobiles on US roads. So while drivers in Asia, Europe, Latin America, and Australia get to enjoy China's modern tech and low prices, and again, mini bridges, American consumers are mostly unaware that these brands even exist.
But some people think this should change. Americans are increasingly burdened with a high cost of living, and cars are responsible for a big chunk of that. The average price for a new car is almost $50,000, up from just over $30,000 in 2012. With interest rates above normal, car loans are more expensive than ever, prompting some buyers to accept terms that last 6 years or more, which is almost never a good idea. Don't do it. Thanks to the complex tech in newer cars, auto repair prices have also spiked, with an average visit to the shop costing over $800. And of course, we're all aware of what's been happening with gas prices since the Trump administration decided to start a war in the Middle East.
With so much upward pressure on the cost of transportation, some think that American consumers deserve access to affordable Chinese cars, and that US automakers would have nothing to complain about. In a recent op-ed in the New York Times, economist Clifford Winston notes how over the last few decades, vehicle manufacturers like Ford and Chevy have been quietly discontinuing their cheaper models in favor of pricey luxury models that carry a higher profit margin.
In 2012, there were about a dozen vehicles available to US consumers that cost below $25,000, adjusted for inflation. Today, that number is 4. And models that began their lives as affordable, stripped-down sedans known as econo-boxes like the Honda Civic have slowly evolved into more sophisticated, more comfortable, and more expensive versions of their former selves.
Winston puts some of the blame on the so-called K-shaped economy. As Americans on the lower rungs of the ladder slide deeper into debt and hardship, high-income Americans are doing better than ever. Car companies realize they could make a lot more money selling a second luxury SUV to a wealthy household than making affordable sedans for ordinary commuters.
Winston also cites protectionism as a culprit. For over 50 years, the US government has shielded US automakers from global competition, which may have made them less innovative and efficient and kept prices for US consumers above global market value. The Trump administration's tariffs, for example, hit affordable vehicles harder than luxury ones, since they're more likely to be made overseas.
But there may be more to the rise in vehicle prices than just corporate greed and trade policy. For one thing, today's cars are simply better products than they were in 1980. Safer, more fuel efficient, and more comfortable. This is an economic concept known as hedonic adjustment, which proposes that inflation may not be as bad as it seems because we fail to take into account the increase in product quality. It's not fair to compare the price of a brand new iPhone to that of a brick from the 1980s because you can get so much more out of it.
But critics of hedonic adjustment point out that consumers are often forced to pay more for the newest tech whether they want it or not. You can still buy a flip phone for $100, but good luck finding a new sedan without a computer in it. A struggling commuter might not want all the bells and whistles, just something to get them to work.
Consumer trends may also be to blame. Americans have always liked big cars, but since the 1990s, sales of SUVs, crossovers, and light trucks have surged, overtaking smaller sedans. Drivers prefer being high up, having more cargo space, and the perception of safety, even if it's just a perception. Automakers have been happy to accommodate them, especially since these vehicle types tend to be pricier and have looser fuel efficiency standards.
Clearly, there is no one cause of the auto affordability problem. Car companies, policymakers, and consumers have all played their part, but are Chinese cars the answer?
The US auto industry is a big no on that, predicting wholesale economic devastation. But then it's hard to take their word for it since they said similar things about seatbelts, airbags, and catalytic converters.
Although there are very real concerns about fair trade and national security, it's also undeniable that these are high-quality vehicles with superior technology. And the more Americans find out about them, the more they'll expect to access them. Some economists predict a solution not unlike that of Japanese cars in the 80s. Allow the sale of Chinese vehicles, but with heavy conditions like building factories in the US, hiring American workers, and cutting subsidies.
Of course, unlike Japanese companies, China's auto industry is controlled by the state, so it's unclear whether they'd agree to these terms.
But perhaps there's a compromise that can foster healthy competition and innovation while giving American consumers some much-needed price relief.
And mini fridges. I really want the mini fridge.
And that's our 2 cents.
Thanks to our patrons for keeping 2 cents financially healthy. Click the link in the description to become a 2 cents patron.